You are listening to Hello Cupcake, It's Me, a podcast with your host, Michael Peterson.
Hey everyone, Michael here with Hello Cupcake, It's Me. Today is April 15th, 2023, and thanks for hanging with me. If you haven't done so already, please hit like and subscribe, then head on over to podcast.hellocupcakeitsme.com to check out the podcast and join over there. And then head on over to hellocupcakeitsme.com to check out the blog and give it some love. So guys, it is Saturday. What are y'all doing this weekend? I really don't have many plans. I know here after I am done with the video that I am going to be going and getting some coffee and maybe a breakfast burrito from the gas station. Exciting, right? But, yeah, it's just been a very long, interesting week. I know I covered a little bit of what was going on in the Wednesday check-in video and then the Thursday podcast. But I'm going to get a little political for just a minute, and I hate doing this or whatever, but I'm giving you my 2 cents. So, like it, love it, hate it, what the hell ever, I don't care. I feel like I need to say something on this. The very first thing is about gun control. I am 100% anti-gun control. I know that there's been a lot of tragic things happening around the nation, and most recently the Christian school being shot up or whatever. I don't believe that we should blame the tool. We need to blame the person, not the tool. And like that has become the hill that I am ready to die on. I grew up being bullied my entire life. I never once thought to go into my parents' arsenal and take a gun to school and commit horrific acts of violence against people. That just wasn't who I was. I think that the media needs to have a leash put on them, especially when reporting on these tragic events that are happening. It's over-sensationalizing. It is taking opinions of the news reporters and putting it out there as hard facts. We need to go back to a Walter Cronkite type of news reporting where here's the nightly news, this is what happened, do with that information as you will, signing off. None of the talking heads giving their opinions, spouting their rhetoric, none of that shit. It should literally just be, here's the nightly news, blah, 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 and moving on. But it's taken to a dark place now. It's almost no longer journalistic. I don't think there's journalistic integrity anymore. And it's been proven time and time again, you can actually YouTube, like, news stations across the U.S. basically reading from the same script. And the same story that's broadcast on, say, Fox News will then be broadcast on ABC or NBC, but spun to the demographics that read and watch and consume that media. And You know, I'm all about First Amendment rights. I'm all about Second Amendment rights. You know, freedom of speech, but not freedom from consequence. I don't think the guns should be taken away from people. It doesn't make a goddamn bit of difference if you outlaw a gun. Those who want it are going to have it. Look at the war on drugs. We had the war on drugs. We criminalized all of the drug usage. We criminalized this, that, and the other thing. It didn't stop people from having access to drugs. The prohibition did not stop people from having access to alcohol. You have dry counties. People drive to the next county, get all the beer and liquor that they want, bring it back to their county, and consume it. All it does is make criminals of otherwise law-abiding citizens. And this whole bullshit of an AR-style rifle or assault weapon. I can lay out 15 different weapons, and none of you would be able to say this is an AR-15, or this is this, or this is that. Like, you know, there are handguns that I can buy aftermarket stuff for that will turn it into an assault style looking weapon. And so it's just ridiculous. And a lot of people have come at me for voicing this on my social medias, especially on my personal Facebook page, talking about, well, if you lost somebody to gun violence, I'm sure you would change your opinion. Actually, no, I didn't change my opinion when my aunt shot and killed my 25-year-old cousin, her own son. She flat pulled the gun and shot and killed him in the heat of an argument. Now, I'm not going into the full story. Well, actually, yeah, I am, so you can understand a little bit better. There was a family argument, and they had a roommate living with them. It was my aunt, my cousin, his wife, his children, and this dude all living in the same house together. My aunt has had mental health issues her entire life. My cousin, mental health issues his entire life. His wife, mental health issues her entire life. Don't know shit about the roommate dude. Roommate dude was sleeping with my cousin's wife, and they didn't know about it. There was a huge fight happening, and my aunt, in a fit of rage, said, if I had a gun right now, I would shoot you dead. The roommate, legal, registered gun owner, hands my aunt his gun, and she pulled the trigger, killing my cousin. She then realized what had happened and started freaking out because she thought it was one of the children's toy guns. She did not see that there was not orange on the barrel. And the dude is the one that I blame for my cousin's murder, because he handed my aunt a gun fully loaded, and she shot and killed him. I blame them both. But I mainly blame the dude who handed my aunt the gun. My aunt only spent 45 days in jail because the jury and the judge and everything determined that it was literally an accident and a heat of the moment type of crime. And, she was released, but that doesn't change the fact that my cousin, who would now be 42 years old, was shot and killed. And the family never once blamed the gun. None of our family ever once blamed the gun. We blamed the person. And, you know, look at all the atrocious violences that have happened at the hands of drunk drivers. Look at 9/11. Regardless if you think that it was an inside or it was a terroristic act or whatever else, we did not ban planes. We did not ban automobiles. Somebody gets on a motorcycle and kills themselves and other people. We don't ban motorcycles. It is a hot topic issue that people are jumping on the bandwagon about, and like, oh no, we gotta stop this, we gotta do this, we gotta do that, we gotta impose stricter gun laws, we gotta do this, that, and the other thing. To those people, I say, look at populaces and civilizations that disarmed themselves. Look at Germany when they disarmed themselves. What happened to them? Look at what happened to the Jewish population when they disarmed themselves. Look at what happened in France when they disarmed themselves. In Canada right now, they have gun laws in place where it's basically impossible for a private citizen to have access to a gun. Yet they are getting stabbed and murdered left and right by knives. Every single day that I turn on the Canadian radio station that I listen to, I am hearing about a string of violence acts committed against knives. And people getting stabbed and killed and injured. Yeah, a knife can't go into a nightclub and take out everyone in the nightclub. But a knife can still injure and mortally wound several people. And then there's other people that are like, oh, well, they just need to have gun safety classes and need to be trained on how to use a gun. Most people are trained on their gun, but on the off chance that the person using the gun doesn't know how to properly handle a gun, you want them to go through training to learn how to go from an amateur shooter to a professional shooter. Let that sink in for a minute. And they're like, well, there needs to be a gun magazine limit. Tell me what you think a gun magazine is. Like, you know, most guns on the market, especially with some of the recent legislation that has come through in the last 10 years, we'll say, has limited your gun, or the gun magazine, to 10 rounds. Usually it's 10 plus 1, which means 10 in the clip, 1 in the chamber. There are competition shooters that can change out an empty magazine and put a brand new, freshly loaded magazine in within 3 to 5 seconds. Especially if they are well trained on the gun that they are using. It's snap, pap, and then automatically have a whole new set of guns. Bap, bap. So, you know, that really doesn't make a damn bit of difference. I think the world record speed holder is 0.05 1/100th of a second to change out their clip. Like, you know, I'm not saying everyone has that supersonic speed or whatever, but there it is. I believe that people should have access to any style of weaponry within reason. I don't think that my next door neighbor needs to have short-range nuclear weapons. I don't think that my next door neighbor needs to have access to a tank. I don't think that they should have, or that they need to have, access to ground-to-air missiles. However, fine. Have your ground-to-air missiles. Have your RPGs. Have whatever, but, outside of stupid shit like that, like nuclear arms, I don't think anyone should have nuclear capabilities. Period. Across the board. That is something that decimates not only the populace that it is used against, but the environmental impact. And, you blow up a bomb, say, Hiroshima. Look at the fallout that caused from that. Look at the radiation poisoning that went into our atmosphere and the shit that we are still dealing with. Look at the Fukushima nuclear plant that melted down. We are still having adverse effects from that. Look at Chernobyl. We still have shit going on with Chernobyl, and we can't even go there. The animals in Chernobyl are starting to adapt to radiation poisoning and taking on all kinds of new mutations and stuff. So, anyways, that's enough on that. The next issue that I want to talk about is people who are just overly sensitive about Dylan Mulvey and the fact that she is on the goddamn Bud Light can. Y'all, get the hell over it. Like, transgender people have existed for decades. They have existed since the time immemorial. You have been around the LGBT community your entire lives. People have just hidden it. They don't need to hide anymore. We are in the year 2023. We do not need to hide this shit anymore. Why does one group of the population have to hide who they are? Why is it that you are so offended by somebody living their fucking life? And I honestly believe that the men who are pissed off about her living her life, it's 100% ego. It is 100%, oh, she's hot, and now that I know that she used to be a guy, that makes me feel a certain sort of way because, god damn it, I've been duped. So, does that make me gay? No, it does not make you gay. And even if you were gay, doesn't matter. Would you be happy? Throw religion out the door. Throw your neighbors out the door. Throw your family out the door. What makes you happy? If you are happy being with a man, or if you are happy being a woman who's with a woman, or if you're unhappy as a man and you think that you want to be a woman and you want to have the surgery to make yourself more feminine so that your mental image matches your physical image, then god damn it, go live your life. You only get one of them. Only one. No one's guaranteed a tomorrow. Do you. Make yourself happy. I don't understand why anyone has anything to say about what's in my pants. I don't know why anyone thinks that they have something to say about who is in my bed, where I stick my dick. I hate to be crude, but it's none of y'all's fucking business who does what. As long as they are not hurting other people are forcing them into sexual situations that they don't want to be in. Well, what about drag queens reading to kids? What the fuck matters? It is a man in a dress reading to children. You have these self-hating drag queens, and I'm using the term drag queens because I don't feel like they are an accurate representation of that community, that are coming out and talking about the horrors of, like, why would you want a drag queen coming and talking to your children? One video I saw was a drag queen who was dressed up, and it actually made me really sick to think of the damage that he was doing to the community. But he was talking about, like, all of the negatives, like the drug use and the sexual promiscuity and the this and the that of the LGBT community. Well, there's drug use and sexual promiscuity within the straight community. Every community has its pariahs, its bad apples, its whatevers. But what about the aspects of the community that are positive? Drag queens are very positive people in the fact that they are performers, they are entertainers, they are artists. Many of them can sing, a lot of them can dance, a lot of them can sew, a lot of them can put on makeup. A lot of them have a lot of entrepreneurial talents and charisma and showmanship and stage presence. Why is none of that being looked at? Why are those aspects not being looked at? Now, Dylan, okay? She is just this radiant ball of energy. I have been a fan of hers since before she started her transitioning. And even as a young gay man, she was a beautiful person. But now that she has transitioned, and yes, she may not biologically be a woman, but she is physically and mentally a woman. Her body matches what her idea of being a woman is. And at the very crudest, basic elements, what makes a man and a woman a woman? A man has balls and a dick. A woman has tits and a vagina. If you are a man and you have your private parts altered to look like those of a woman, then physically you are a woman. There is still the vaginal canal, but it doesn't go into any reproductive organs. And I think that's the key point right there. Well, with a woman, they have a vagina and they can get pregnant and so on and so forth, but not all biologically born women can have children. What about those women that have hysterectomies and their uterus is taken out, and let's say that it's cancer, so they had to have a hysterectomy, and then it spread to the breasts, and now they had to have a mastectomy, and they had to have both of their breasts removed. And so now, because they don't have sexual reproduction organs and they don't have mammaries, does that make them a man? Well, no, they were born a biological woman, but they no longer have the internal anatomy of a biological woman. So what's the difference? Like, that's how basic I'm getting with people. And I know that there is a huge disconnect between the physiology and the psychology of sex. And but at the base of it all, Dylan is not hurting anyone by living her life. Yeah, the her pronoun and pronouns in general is a huge thing for a lot of people. But you know what? We use pronouns every single fucking day. He, here, he, hers, she, whatever. We use those pronouns daily. Why is there the disconnect and the hang up in calling a person a her if she shows herself, if she presents herself? What is the different? Why can't we call him a he if he presents himself that way? It's just a bunch of bullshit and a bunch of rhetoric and just stupidity. And there are laws and legislation and shit that are being brought to light and trying to be enforced that I think are absolutely horrendous. And the fact that anything is being presented to Congress and to the government that has any sort of religious undertone is it's an attack on our constitutional rights. And it is an attack in the fact that there is a separation of the church and the state. Your religious affiliation should never come into play when talking about your political affiliations. And I 100% believe that the second a senator or a congressman or whoever says anything about their religious beliefs and ideology, that they should be removed from office immediately. I don't need to know if Donald Trump is a Christian or a Catholic, or if this senator or this Republican or Democrat person is a Christian or an atheist or a Muslim or a Jew or any of that other stuff. That is not why you were elected. And electing somebody based on their spiritual beliefs, no, absolutely not. There's a separation of the church and the state for a reason. That separation needs to stay there. Just like, the abortion laws, like it or hate it, I have my own quorums with abortion. I think that because it takes two people to create the baby, that it should take two people to terminate the baby. I understand in extreme circumstances of rape, incest, or just the baby not developing properly, or the mother's life being at risk. I mean, all pregnancies, even if it's a gold star pregnancy, there's still risk to the mother and to the child of one or both passing away during childbirth, because America has a huge mortality rate when it comes to birthing. But, I think that if a man wants the child and the woman doesn't, the man should be able to have the child. She should have to carry the child to term, and there you go. Those are my own personal thoughts. I would never push that off on somebody else, though. Just like I never pushed my personal thoughts and beliefs about the vaccination onto anyone else. And I know that I'm jumping around all over the place. My ADHD brain is like throwing all this information at me, and I'm trying to make sense of it and trying to like put it into a comprehensive whatever. But my personal beliefs should not ever come into consideration if I held a office, like a political office or a station of power. Me being whatever religion I am has no bearing on you. Has no bearing on the fact that our streets need to be paved or whatever else. Like, just because you're Christian and you don't believe in abortions doesn't mean that you should have the right to tell your neighbor that they can't have one. Like I said, I have my own quorums with it, but, I've ranted enough. I know that we're going into 30 minutes of this video or whatever. So, I'm leaving that as it is. So, if you've listened this far, awesome. Thank you so much. I felt like I needed to get that off my chest. There's really not been that much going on in my life this week or whatever, so this is something that I've been dealing with in like social media and in my personal life and whatever else, and people just being butthurt and upset that Dylan is on the Budweiser can, and that this agenda is being pushed and that agenda is being pushed and blah blah. I'm done. So sorry for the word vomit, whatever, but here it is. So I'm going to let you guys go. You know how to get a hold of me. You have all my social medias. Go check them out. I'll talk to you later. Bye, guys.
Thank you so much for tuning in. You have been listening to Hello Cupcake, It's Me, a podcast with your host, Michael Peterson. Please make sure to check back often as new episodes are released bi-weekly. If you have any questions, comments, or concerns, please feel free to send a message to hellocupcakeitsme@gmail.com. And until next time, stay happy, safe, and keep doing the best you can with what you have been given.